Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Anessa and I'm an author and a book coach from Toronto, Canada, and I publish under the pen name A.N. Sage. I do have a book coming out under my name as well, Anessa Sage, but it's a nonfiction and most of my backlist is under my pen name. If you're new to this channel, then you know that I talk about all things writing. I also discuss a lot of tech tools, planning supplies, stationery, techniques, advice on writing, pretty much anything that I think is useful for authors and things that I've learned along the way after having published over 20 books and counting. And I just think it's really fun to connect with everybody here. So if you haven't subscribed yet and this sounds like a community that you want to be a part of, then I encourage you to subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And now with housekeeping out of the way, I'm talking about something that we haven't, I think, talked about in this channel yet. I would have to dig through the archives of the content that we have here so far. But I wanted to talk to you guys about my favorite graphic novels. So I read a lot of graphic novels and I read them because I think they really help me in fiction writing. And I want to talk about how reading graphic novels is actually very, very helpful for authors of any kind, especially if you're writing fiction, because there's a lot of story and character work that goes into a graphic novel. And because you can visualize it, it really helps you with storytelling. It's a different form of storytelling, but I think it really inspires all other types of stories. And so I kind of wanted to talk about, I have this pile here, and these are my, pretty much my recent absolute favorites. I have others as well, because like I said, I keep reading them. So we can do this as a regular segment as well, where once in a while I can talk about not just my favorite books, which I'm also going to do soon, but, and genre books, but also favorite graphic novels. So I think this will be really fun. There is not going to be any, rhyme or reason to how I pick these. They're in a stack. I pulled them off the shelf. They are not organized in any order on the shelf. They're just there. I mean, the series of, some of these are series and first in series, but the series are stacked together, but I just kind of pulled them out. And I want to talk about why I really like them, why you might like them as inspiration for writing, and why they're just really stellar graphic novels. So first, why graphic novels? I find that as a visual person, because I'm also an illustrator and graphic artist, as a visual person, I am a hoarder of all things that are visually creative. I love collecting art. I love collecting stickers. I love putting up on the wall. I love little knickknacks. I love book covers. Don't we all? I love books simply because of book covers. So I really, really enjoy a good graphic novel. You'll see there's kind of a theme here because I really like witchy, magical fantasy kind of graphic novels. Clearly, I write a lot of mystery, paranormal, magic, all of that. And so I figured in my graphic novel, as I'm looking through these, they're pretty much all either ghosties, that's what my toddler calls ghosts, by the way. And I am beginning to speak like a 2-year-old. So sorry about that. I swear I write much better. Witches, there's like witches, there's witches, ghosts, there's some kind of like other world type stuff, and there's other fantasy and magic things. There is not one graphic novel in here that does not deal with magic in some way, and I think that tells you everything you need to know about me. I just love magical things. So we'll start with the first one. Also, a note on these, that if you have children or if you like to read younger kind of, these are not adult graphic novels. I really like either middle grade, young adult, or anywhere in between kind of, that type of graphic novel. I find the stories in those are lighter, they read kind of faster, but they also are just like uplifting and cozy. And that's really what I look for in a graphic novel. So no more chit chat, Vanessa. First one, it's shiny from my ring light, but this is the OK Witch. So This is the story of a young girl who basically discovers that she is a witch. She is not great at it, but there's a lot of lessons in this one about found family, and I really like this one because the family aspect of it plays like a big part of it, and it's all very like mom, grandma, daughter kind of relationships, which I really, really like. It's about standing out, about being yourself, about not being afraid to be yourself, and kind of like making peace with who you are. There's also a little bit of a mystery underneath, and it's written really, really well. The art, I really, really enjoyed in this one because it's kind of like it's got this very cutesy feeling, but the tones of it are very like cozy. I don't know if you mean it. It screams fall. This book, like it's got these cozy, warm earth tones, and the story is really, really lovely. I think if you are writing a story, especially if you're writing in young adult or middle grade, and you're writing about making friends and learning how to be you and all of these like general lessons, then this is a really good one to read. So that was one of the ones that I really, really enjoyed. So the next one, and this one is a bit more spooky. So this is called All the Lovely Bad Ones. I'm gonna put this up here. And I'm not quite sure on the date of when this one was created. So it's ages 8 to 12. I'm trying to see in the copyright because it doesn't read like a newer... Let's see. So 2023. So it is fairly new, I suppose. But the way that this is structured, so I mean, you can probably tell that it looks very vintage. And the way the illustrations are as well, it's got a very vintage vibe. So while this is middle grade, I found that this actually reads more like young adult. It's darker. It's got darker themes. It's kind of sad, to be honest, because there's these ghosts of kids. And so, of course, anything to do with like kids not, being around anymore is sad. But it's a brother and a sister who are known for being pranksters, and they get sent to their grandmother's bed and breakfast for the summer and they're told that they can't misbehave. And so, of course, the first thing that they do is they try to play a prank. And as they're playing their prank, they actually end up kind of summoning the ghosts that are in the house. That's all I'm going to say, not to spoil it for everybody, but it is a very interesting read. I really enjoyed this because the way that this was structured, and because of that like vintagey vibe, it had a lot more text in it than some of these other ones. So like the font was much smaller, and so they could squeeze a lot more story in. So this read more like a novel than it did a graphic novel. And it was nice to have all the images to go along with it, but it's, to tell you the truth, I really read this as I would a novel. So if you're looking for a graphic novel that reads more like a book, then this is definitely one I would recommend. But like I said, keep in mind, it is on the darker side. Now this one here, I am eagerly awaiting book number 4 in this series of, this is a webtoon actually. So it's like an adaptation of a webtoon, and I am just super duper waiting for this. There's 3 graphic novels out now, I guess webtoons, I don't know what you would call them. I'm terrible at this stuff, but this is the Cursed Princess Club. So let me see, it's focusing on my face, and I think we're gonna have to, I'll play around with lighting kind of afterwards, but if anything, I'll just, here we go. I think we got, I'll hide myself. I kind of have to kind of play because it is bright on the lights, and this is a very shiny book. So this is the Cursed Princess Club. And as soon as I heard the premise for this, which is princesses that have been cursed, whose curse has not been lifted, as it would usually in fairy tales. And they have this little club. And we have one specific princess who is loved by her sisters, but she apparently seems to be cursed because of how she appears. The reason that I think this might be my favorite graphic novel of all time so far, is because the character development in this, if you are looking at how to write characters and how to write character relationships in a way that is realistic and light and has humor, but is also like soul searching, and kind of gives you like a really good idea of how to write different personalities so that they read well on the page, I 1,000% recommend this one. The humor in this, like I laugh out loud funny at a lot of times. It's got some more adulty humor. I'm not quite sure what the age for this one is, but I would say it's definitely more on the young adult side, because there's like kissing and dating and all of this stuff, right? They're princesses, so there's princess, of course. And it's just a really it's got like a cute style to it, but I just found the character and their relationships and how these girls come together, and the humor specifically in this one. It's light, it's airy, like it reads like you are like eating an ice cream sandwich is how I would describe this graphic novel. And then along the lines of webtoons, there is, I feel like if you know about like webtoons in general, you would have heard of Hooky. It's fairly popular. So this also is a series, and this is the story of two young witches, twins, a boy and a girl, as they kind of go through life. So the book starts with them missing their ride to the Magic Academy, and they don't want to get in trouble with their parents, and they don't want their parents to know that they're not studying for the summer. And so they kind of make their way and find their own way of learning magic. And as you read along these books, you actually see them grow up, and they start to deal with more adult situations and adult lessons. This is a great lesson in found family, a great lesson in friendship, a great lesson in that things are not as they appear and people are not who they think they are. And so this is a really, really good story. It's the twins are 12 years old, I believe. And so let me see. Yeah, they are 12 years old when they start, but they go into teenhood through the kind of the stories. And it's really nice because you get to see different people who wouldn't normally, in this world, who wouldn't normally come together, band together to form like a new type of friendship and family. So this is a really good one if you're trying to write a story of, like enemies to lovers would be good for this one, even though there's no like really like a there's some cutesy romance in here for like teens and stuff. But if you're trying to write like an enemies to lovers story about like how to write people from different mentalities and psychological like perspectives coming together, then this is a really lovely one to read. Then we have A Strange. So, A Strange, I'm putting this out here because I really wanted to read this because it's had a very different storyline than other graphic novels I see out there. The art is amazing. It's kind of like dark, it's like spooky, it's got these like kind of horror tints to it, and the story is about two changelings. So as you know, changelings are fae that switch out human children, babies, for their own kind, and so they take the human babies back into Feyland, and then the changeling children stay here. And so this story is about a human child growing up in the land of fae, and then his changeling growing up in the human world. The changeling does not know that he is a changeling. And the human child very much knows that he has been swapped. And so the premise of the story to me was so interesting that I absolutely had to pick it up. I have since been obsessed with anything that this. So Ethan M. Aldrich actually just came up with a book, a middle grade book, so not a graphic novel. It's called Deep Haven, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through with it. And I'm talking about graphic novels here, but if you want to read middle grade, I highly recommend that one. It's like a gothic, like Academy with Secrets kind of story. There is non-binary representation in the lead character. It's really atmospheric and like it's got like mood and lessons and all of this. And I totally recommend it. And the cover is very much this kind of style. And it's like a very similar style of art. I feel like maybe, I'm not sure if, yeah, I think so. The art and the writing is all like it's all done by the same person, which is absolutely amazing. And so the cover art for Deep Haven is also probably done by him. I haven't double checked, don't quote me on that, but it looks like the same style. So the art in this like is just, it's honestly like absolutely brilliant. It's one of my favorite out of all the ones that I've shown. This and all, I think probably the OK Witch and this are like my favorites as far as art goes. They're very different art styles, but this one here just takes the cake. It's really brilliant. The story itself is really nice. It is about these two changelings, basically twins of themselves, but they really become family. And it's finding family in places you wouldn't expect it. And it's all about being okay with who you are in the world, and about sometimes wanting more and not settling for the place that you were given. And so if you are writing a coming of age story, I think this one would be a really good one. Also, this one is really great for if you're writing a fantasy or any kind of young adult plot driven fantasy book, because the elements of world building in this graphic novel were so phenomenal that I truly felt like I was reading like almost like a Lord of the Rings. Like it was really well done. Everything was thought out. The way that the images portrayed what the text was saying, it was really a well-rounded read. And so I for sure think you should pick it up if you want some lessons on plot. And adventure stories. It's great for that. So if you're writing adventure, like an epic adventure, read that because it'll give you ideas. And then the last one, first in the series, are The Witches of Brooklyn. So this is a very, very cute, very sweet graphic novel. I really, really enjoyed this one. This is your story of a typical witch that goes to live with her very, very quirky grandmother or great aunts, I guess they are. Yeah, so her aunts. They seem like great aunts because they're very, very old. But she discovers that she's a witch and she comes from a line of witches while she is there. And so these are her, like it's stories of Effie and how she learns to grapple with this new magic. Now, the thing about Effie is she is very opinionated. She's very stubborn, which I love because a lot of times you have these stories for children where, especially when it's like somebody discovering that they have magic, and the character is often unsure of themselves and they are weary about like trying out the magic and they don't want anything to do with it and all this stuff. But I find that Effie is so adventurous and she's so brave, and it's really nice to see that in like a lead character, especially when it's like a young girl, and she's just really up for any challenge and she's excited to try stuff and she's not afraid to make mistakes. So there's a lot of really good lessons in this one too. Again, as always with like middle grade YA, really good stories about friendship and being around people that might not be the same as you and learning from them. This one also has a really good lesson in the later books about accepting people, and learning to accept people that you might have not thought about accepting before, about accepting people, new people into your friend group and understanding that everybody has different issues that they might not show on the surface, even though they might seem perfect to other people on the outside. So really, really lovely lessons in that. So that's pretty much what I have for this little stack. I can do more of this. Do let me know if you read graphic novels, if you have a recommendation based on what you just saw me talk about, if you have a recommendation of ones that you think I should check out. I do have a whole shelf of them, so I might have already read it, but if I haven't, I am always on the hunt for new ones to try out. So please leave me all of your recommendations for any, and they don't have to be, I know I've talked a lot about middle grade and young adult and younger kind of graphic novels. They don't have to be, they can be adult ones, but if there is magic, I'd appreciate it even more. Obviously, if there's some kind of fantasy element to it, because that's just so up my alley. So if you have read any of these, let me know what you thought of them. If you're an avid graphic novel reader as well. And definitely tell me if you want to see more videos about graphic novels and things like that. And we could even maybe do a video where we deconstruct one and see how it could, like if we maybe pick a strange or one that's similar to this, and we deconstruct it and we see how the plot fits with, say, fiction books or adventure books, or how the plot, the beats of a graphic novel could fit into, like, say, the cat beats, for example. So we could do something like that. I'm just thinking off the top of my head as I'm filming this, but let me know what you think. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for being here. I really love talking to you guys every single week. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful, magical mid of the summer, pretty much where we're at. If you haven't pre-ordered my writing, crafting cozies, writing cozies, nonfiction that I have coming out June 4th, the link is right in the description. So make sure you check it out. I would love your support on that, especially if you're an author who wants to get into writing cozy mysteries. I'm getting a lot of really good reviews from my advanced reader team for it. And so I would love it if you picked it up and gave it a chance. It is up for pre-order on all the platforms. It's available both in ebook pre-order and paperback pre-order. So I'm super excited about this one. And with that, I'm going to end it here. I hope you stay magical, and I will see you next week for another video. Bye!